put my thing.
Okay, I think we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna start recording. Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see everybody tonight. And we have some very special music, which you'll see in a moment. We're going to begin with Hine Matov.
מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה שבת נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
It's nice to see our community, isn't it? It's been a while. And it's pretty amazing that Jory jumps from his little square up on the top of the screen onto the stage so quickly, and how Morris can sing in 2 different registers. Yes, everybody's sending nice comments about how beautiful it is. And now we're going to have a beautiful candle lighting by Rena Maduro. Yeah, Jory has a split personality, Dennis says.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And Morris is going to lead us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reheshit, ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, chinkaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. Manischewitz.
So our double portion for this week is Behar Behukotai, on the mountain. That is Mount Sinai. And if you obey my commandments is how it begins. The opening verse states that God spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai. Though there seems nothing unusual about this statement, commentators wonder why all of a sudden, in the middle of the book of Leviticus, the Torah needs to mention Mount Sinai. After all, this occurs after many laws have been stated and long after the Israelites have journeyed on from the mountain. The episode of the golden calf has occurred. The instructions to build the tabernacle have been given. The Israelites have built the tabernacle, and Moses has conveyed the laws of sacrifice. Why another mention of Mount Sinai? Ramban, or Nachmanides, the 13th century Spanish commentator, claims that it is to maintain continuity between the giving of the Torah and Mount Sinai and what is now being given, that is, the laws for how the Israelites are to behave in the promised land. Rashi, the 11th century French commentator, says that it is to ensure that the people understand that these laws for the new land are also from Sinai, not some elaboration that Moses made up. The Torah brings us back to Sinai in this verse precisely to insist that every divine command that was spoken to Moses came from Sinai, including both general principles and minute details. And that's how Rashi explains this repetition of Mount Sinai. Ironically, the rabbis of our tradition also claim that their interpretations of the Torah, their elaborations of the laws, were also handed down on Mount Sinai, because the word of God from Sinai in the written Torah is surely also the word of God in the rabbi's interpretation. That's what's called the oral Torah. We continue with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yiborachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yiborachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yiborachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, לשלום, מלאכי עליון, מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בחוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בחוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Tori and Morris are getting major kudos in the chat box. And as I told them when we met earlier in the week to kind of go over everything, they have spoiled us for all future services because unfortunately, every service cannot be like this. However, we are enjoying it tonight. So thank you so much. So I mentioned that the rabbis decide that their interpretations of the Torah are also Torah Sinai. In fact, Torah that's handed down by God on Mount Sinai. And how do they arrogate to themselves the authority to interpret the Torah and claim that their interpretation is precisely what God meant through the words of Torah? The Talmud recounts that while Moses was on Mount Sinai, he saw God decorating some of the letters of the Torah with crowns. And Moses says to God, "What is the significance of these crowns?" God replies that one day a sage will teach even what these crowns mean. Well, Moses says, "I'd like to meet this man." And so God sends Moses forward in time to the yeshiva of Rabbi Akiba. Moses sits in the back row while the great Akiba teaches, and Moses is utterly confused. He does not understand a word of what's being said. These are the interpretations that Akiba is given of the written Torah. And so Moses is kind of depressed because these arguments proceed and he cannot follow them. But then all of a sudden, one of the other students asks Akiba, "Rabbi, where in the Torah did you learn all of this?" And Akiba answers, "Halacha l'Moshe mi-Sinai." This law was given to Moses at Sinai. In other words, the interpretations that the rabbis devised were put there by God to be discovered by the rabbis. And Moses' mind is set at ease. His own Torah, he realizes, is so much more complex than he himself could understand. Please join us in the Hatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתנורמן ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
We continue with the Baruch.
Yadadai, yadai, yadai. Yadadai, yadai, yadai. Yadadai, yadai, yadai. Yadadai, yadai, yadai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam, 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 va'ed. Yadadai, yadai, yadai. 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 Yadadai, yadai, yadai.
The two blessings before the Shema are a blessing about creation and a blessing about Torah. For the blessing of creation, this is For Spring by Alden Soloby. Shimmering, radiant air, alive with new warmth. Sunshine waking the earth, calling the grasses to grow and bulbs to prepare flowers. Winds clear the remnants of seasons past, old leaves and dry branches making way for new life. And the rain joins the sun to feed the land. Bless this day, God of seasons. Bless the spring with energy and hope. Be present with us as we celebrate the glory of creation, planting the land and our lives with your gifts, these gardens of holiness and love. God of time and space, may this season be a blessing and a teacher. Make me like the sunshine, a source of light. Make me like the earth, flowing with bounty, ready to give. Bless my days with service and my nights with peace. Make me like a garden, a source of beauty and purpose, sustenance and splendor. We continue with Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shofteinu u'kumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nizmak b'divrei toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Beautiful. So in the words of the Eitz Chaim commentary, at the heart of the Torah portion this week, Behar, is the visionary concept of returning land to its original owner at the end of a 50-year cycle, the Jubilee year. This is to prevent the polarization of society into two classes, wealthy, powerful landowners on the one hand, and permanently impoverished people on the other. In an agrarian society, a farmer who sold all the land to pay debts had no prospect of ever being anything other than a servant, and the same would hold true for his children. In the 50th year, families would reclaim the land they had originally held and later had to sell. Behind this plan are two religious assumptions. Because all the earth and all of its inhabitants belong to God, human beings cannot possess either the land or the people in perpetuity. And no human being should be condemned to permanent servitude. Please join us in the Shema.
La 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema 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 Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Ruth Bryn has a prayer poem about the Jubilee year. It's called Testament of Freedom. The people of America read about the sabbatical year and the year of the Jubilee as a testament of freedom. In the beginning, they engraved the words of Leviticus on the Liberty Bell. Proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. Generations later, the slaves, in hopes of their freedom, sang the year of the Jubilo and Go Down Moses. You made us to be free. You set the spark in every human heart. Now help us fan the spark to flame, to light our way. Now help us break the chains, tear down the walls. Help us bring freedom at last to all the world. Freedom leads us to think about our freedom from slavery in Egypt and the way in which we were able to walk through the sea on dry land. And when we got to the other side, we sang the Mi Chamocha, who is like you, O God. Please join us.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע מפני משה. זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה
So the second Torah portion for this week is called Bechukotai, and this is about the laws that God has given us to obey. And it contains blessings and curses. Blessings if we follow God's commandments, and curses if we disobey. The curses are quite frightening. God promises total ruin. The length of the curses, known as tochacha, or reproof, is greater than the length for the blessings. The idea was to make the curses so terrifying that they would put fear in the hearts of those tempted to stray. In many synagogues, these curses are recited in a very low voice. Medieval commentator Ibn Ezra claims that despite the fact that more verses are dedicated to the curses, the blessings actually outweigh the curses in quality. And here's what Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt offers, a slightly gentler view of these blessings and curses. It's called either or. If you will follow my laws and observe my commandments, I will grant you rain in its season. You will eat your fill. I will live in your midst. I will untie your tangles. Where there is rye bread, there will always be pastrami. You and your mother will remain on good terms no matter what. But if you do not obey, if you break my laws and spurn my rules, if you break my covenant, I will set my face against you. I will shatter your glory. I will leave your boat becalmed. You will never find a good parking place again. You will poison the skies, and your fields will not feed you. I can be infinitely more hostile than you, but I won't be. In the end, you'll realize I was here all along, waiting for you. The Shamru, command to observe Shabbat. Please join us.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
I do want you to observe that they practice social distancing despite some magic that they created with their video. They did not get close to each other despite the illusion of that. We're going to continue with the tefillah, which is standing prayer if you choose to stand, or you can sit at your computer. We begin with the avot.
Adonai Sephatai, Sephatai Tiftach, Ufi Yadid Tehilatecha. Adonai Sephatai, שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chazdei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Geulav Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha se'ela, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
And let's continue silently for a few moments with the words of our hearts. We continue with Ose Shalom, asking for peace.
Ose Shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We are on a journey from our escape from slavery in Egypt to receiving the Torah and Mount Sinai. And so we spend 7 times 7 weeks counting the Omer. The Omer was a measure of barley that was delivered to the temple as an offering. But of course, the temple doesn't exist anymore. So now we simply count the days, and we use that opportunity to think about ways in which we are worthy of receiving the Torah. For Kabbalists, for the mystics, they spent time thinking about different aspects of our personality, trying to work on that. So we are going to count the Omer. Today happens to be the 37th day of the Omer. Hineni muchan umezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sefirat haomer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom Sheva u'shloshim yom shehem chamisha shevuot v'yomamim la'omer. Today is the 37th day of the Omer, and it's the 5th week of the Omer counting. We're going to continue with the Mishaberach. We're going to speak about people in our congregation and friends and family of our congregants who are in need of healing, whether of body, of mind, or of spirit. We think of Jonathan Davidson, Brenda Oppenheim, Ben Henderson, Bob Fry, Nancy Fry, Isaac Lipkovitz, Rivka Lipkovitz, Gloria Mangus, Steve Lux, Becca Troxler DeHand, Evie Troxler DeHand, Kathy Kreider, Jan Judman, Pamela Mangus, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Don Appleby. If you'd like to add a name, please do so in the chat and I'll read it out loud. Patty Podner, Robert Helmbrecht, Lonnie Reams, Robert Doctor, Tom Johnson, Sandra Stokely, Ruth and Sandy Landis, John Cruz, Sandra Landis, BZR, Barbara Brandt, Helen Iniguez, and Ruth. Yeah, Rick is sending me little bits and pieces of his names. Barbara Brandt, Emmett Cole, Irving Klein, Bob Herman, Elaine Burke, please join us in the Mishaberach, the prayer for healing.
Mishaberach avotenu Mekor havracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mekor havracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So I'm going to share a study sheet with you. Get it to the middle of the screen so you can all see it. Okay. So these are some quotes from our Torah portion. As we mentioned earlier, this Torah portion includes the Shemitah, the sabbatical year. So God speaks to Moses on Mount Sinai and says, speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you come into the land that I give you, the land shall observe a Shabbat, just the way we observe a Shabbat every week. So the land every 7 years is also going to observe a Shabbat. And it'll be a complete rest for the land, a year of complete rest, it says it twice. But you may eat whatever the land during a Shabbat will produce. You, your male and female servants, the hired workers, and those who live with you, and for your cattle and for the wild animals in your land, all its crops are available. So you're not going to starve, even though the land is going to have a rest. And then in Deuteronomy, it says again, every 7th year, you're to make a release. Now, this time it's not a release of the land, but it's a release of your debts. This is something we actually were just studying in Torah study. So if you've lent money to somebody and it's the 7th year and you're not able to pay, you're supposed to let them go without paying their debt. And of course, if there's a needy person among you, among your kinfolk, you shall not harden your heart or close your hand against them. You should open your hand, give them what they need. And if a fellow Hebrew is sold to you, and that's somebody who served for 6 years, and in the 7th year, they're let free and they're given enough to be able to start a life again. The Jubilee year is happening actually in the 7th month, because the first month in the Bible is actually Nisan, when Passover happens. And on the 10th day of that month, which happens to be what we now look at as Yom Kippur, you shall make holy the 50th year. So again, it's 7 times 7. They like that number 7. You're going to make a Yovel, and so everybody who had land that they were forced to sell because they couldn't pay their debts are going to be returned to their families. So it's interesting because we have now 3 different things where debts are released, the land is released from having to work, the land is given back to the owners, and during these periods of time, the entire economy halts. Workers, animals, and the land all rest. And the produce of the land is free for all to take. Debts are released, and debt bondage is released. In the Jubilee year, those whose families had to sell their land due to poverty and debt get it back, a massive redistribution of wealth. About this kind of release from what we are normally doing. So here's some commentary. You shall make holy the 50th year and proclaim freedom throughout the land for all its inhabitants. And again, this is the kind of thing that's on the Liberty Bell, but it's actually the one from this week's Torah portion. And the verse does not say proclaim freedom throughout all the land for all of its slaves, but for all of its inhabitants. And why is that? For in a state where there is no freedom, even for a minority of its inhabitants, then all its inhabitants are enslaved. We experience freedom only when there is no subjugation at all in a state. Subjugation is a plague that damages. It does give us some pause to think about people who are still in prison, in jails, in detention, and immigrant detention. What does it mean when they're not free? What does that do to the rest of us in our society, particularly at a time like this when people are much more vulnerable in those situations to COVID-19? And how does that threaten the rest of our society? Or people who are in debt because they can't pay their bills. You know, are the rest of us really so comfortable when we know there are people out there who aren't? A second commentary, the individual shakes himself free from ordinary weekday life at short and regular intervals on every Sabbath. What the Sabbath achieves regarding the individual, the Shemitah achieves with regard to the nation as a whole. A year of solemn rest is essential for both the nation and the land, a year of peace and quiet without oppressor and tyrant. It is a year of equality and rest. There is no private property and no punctilious privilege, but the peace of God reigns over all, in which there is the breath of life. Sanctity is not profaned by the exercise of private acquisitiveness over all this year's produce, and the covetousness of wealth stirred up by commerce is forgotten. So it's kind of an equalizer. And then Rabbi Arthur Waskow talks about work is not just a physical labor, but the scaffolding of institutional structures of domination and control. The exertion of effort over others that these institutions require is, in the biblical mind, closely akin to the work of plowing the earth and reaping its produce. So the structures themselves, not merely the physical efforts that they carry, must be periodically dissolved in order for a true Shabbat to happen. So all of these different moments of rest, whether it's Shabbat, whether it's Shemitah, which is the rest of the land, whether it's the Jubilee when land goes back to its owners, or the release of debt. All of these are moments of recalibration so that wealth does not accumulate amongst a small group of people and poverty does not extend to a larger group of people. And finally, through an exploration of a year of living Shemitah, we are being asked to do nothing less than to reimagine and realign our economic and consumer trends, which will in turn change our fundamental sense of self and the values we have lived by. We are being asked to take a leap of faith and seek to build a robust economy while making and buying less stuff, enhance and appropriately reward the service sector of the economy, create greater economic equality, reverse the trend toward privatization and return to and celebrate the concept of the commons, create a marketplace for people instead of using people to enrich the titans of the marketplace, strengthen local ties and local economies, personalize the exchange of goods, and reimagine a just construction of debt. So in looking at all of these different commentaries of what we're reading about this week, the first text emphasizes the quality of freedom in the Jubilee year and the importance of seeking true freedom from oppression for everyone. The second text emphasizes the experience of being released from the domination of a system of private property and acquisitiveness during the sabbatical year and a kind of spiritual renewal. The third text likens the biblical notion of social justice to a kind of rest in which structures of control and domination, employer, laborer, creditor, debtor, farmer, land, dissolve for an entire year. Which of these speaks to you about the relevance of the sabbatical and/or Jubilee year for us today? So I'd like to open that up for discussion. I'll stop sharing so we can all see each other. Do any of these speak to you? I guess they don't speak to anybody, or
maybe they have to unmute themselves.
they have, yeah, you have to unmute yourself, but they all know that. Does any of this speak to you? This idea of Shabbat, where we give ourselves a break, our servants a break, our land a break, our debts a break, where we recalibrate the economy so that people are not accumulating wealth and property to the detriment of other people.
We're kind of all giving ourselves a break right now.
Right. And maybe it gives us some time to think about ways in which we might also wish to recalibrate our lives or the lives of our larger society, because we're not doing some of the things we normally do, which is doing a lot of running around and driving around and flying around and thinking about what is essential for the essential workers in our society. Ezra, did you have something you want to?
What happens at the end of the year? Does it revert to what it was?
You mean when you give the land a rest?
Right.
Yeah, you just give the land a rest, which actually agriculturally made a lot of sense, right? You know, when you let the land lie fallow, it's good for the land, right? So there was an agricultural
But when
reason.
you have I guess also in terms of debts, the debts are cleared on that Jubilee year, correct?
Every 7 years. The Shemitah is every 7 years.
Every 7 years.
I find that rather interesting that it's every 7 years that the debts are cleared, because in modern society, if you go bankrupt after 7 years, the bankruptcy comes off of your record.
Wow.
You can help
Interesting.
wonder if that's a coincidence or if there's something to that.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, I do think that the Bible has had very important influences on our society and on our Constitution and on the people who wrote our Constitution were very versed in the Bible. I will tell you what happens with the debt later, because the rabbis do something with it. And I don't want to kind of tell you right now, but the rabbis have something they do with it, which isn't so pretty. But anyway, any other? Martha?
I think maybe we could be thinking anyway about what we could sacrifice on our own part in our own lives or our families' lives that might make the readjustment to reality when it comes smoother. I'm not sure we know what that should be yet, but I have a feeling that everyone is going to be called to make some sacrifices as things get back to normal.
Well, I don't know if you heard the governor talking about the $54 million deficit that we have.
That's scary, right
So there's
there.
going to definitely be sacrifice because a lot of stuff is being, chopped up. And
then
also, I don't know if you guys, huh? Go ahead.
how do we, if at all, knowing this, start thinking about accommodations we can make or ways we can fill gaps that are definitely going to exist.
They definitely will, because they're going to have to cut a lot of things, with that kind of money. But actually, the Union for Reform Judaism, I don't know if people saw this, but an email went out, I believe it was yesterday, basically saying we're in deep trouble and we're cutting 20% back on staff. So they haven't announced who's being laid off. They don't want to actually name names, but there are going to be programs that are cut as well. And, so everyone's going to have to tighten their belts and think about ways in which we can, distribute things in a different way.
Yeah, listening to you. For some of us who have been extremely fortunate that during this time of COVID-19, that it allowed us, at least financially, to do business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Over the internet, but it's, over telehealth and what have you. What it does is it really makes it very clear that for some of us, we hold debts. Some of our clients, because of this time, they can't pay. And it really gives thought to what it costs us to forgive it versus what benefit they get from that. Makes it kind of embarrassing not to.
Okay, I'll tell you what the rabbis did. So, of course, there's a problem. If you say that every 7 years debts are forgiven, who's going to lend money, especially like the 6th year, right? Because they're not going to get paid. I mean, right? You just say, well, can't pay you, you don't get paid back. And the rabbis, I talked earlier about how they believe that their interpretations are actually what was handed down at Mount Sinai. In other words, the interpretations are there to be found in the Torah, the white spaces between the black letters. And they'll do something like they'll take an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and they'll say, well, it's not really an eye and it's not really a tooth. It's really the value of the eye. and the value of the medical costs that you're going to incur. And so you just have to pay. You don't pull out somebody's eye, which, they find all kinds of reasons to justify something like that. However, in this particular case, Rabbi Hillel, our famous rabbi who said, if I'm not for myself, who will be? If I'm for myself only, what am I? And if not, now when? And various other sage statements, issued something called a prose bull. And by that, he said that what you can do is, if you have somebody who owes you money, you sell the debt to the court. And then the court can collect the money. You can forgive the debt, but the court doesn't. And then they even extended that to say that you could collect the money on behalf of the court for yourself. So in a sense, really getting rid of this thing altogether, which I suppose makes a certain amount of sense. I mean, it's certainly, I can't imagine that they thought that's really what God meant. But I think that the idea of the Jubilee year and the Shemitah and all of these things are ideals, that we want to recalibrate society. We don't want anyone to accumulate too much. We don't want anyone to become too much of a, to be, under mounds of debt or servitude or whatever. And so this is a way to rebalance society. And it's a nice ideal, but it probably, doesn't really work all that well in practice. Because, again, who's going to lend money? Even though it does say in the next verse, don't, hold back from it, because people are poor and you need to give them money. But, it doesn't really work that way. So we have an ideal that gets somewhat, curtailed by the rabbis. And, I don't find that to be so such an elevated way of approaching it. But hey, it was Rabbi Hillel, so who might criticize him? So just something to think about as we are going through our own sabbatical here. Even if we're not, again, I'm working all the time, but I'm still also at home. So it's not the same as running around and driving and flying and everything. So it gives us the opportunity to really think about what kind of society we want to live in, and what's fair and what's not fair, and who's out there putting their lives on the line while we can stay home and they're delivering food to us and mail and other things. And do we, really treat them like they're essential workers by the way we pay them, et cetera? Maybe not so much. So just some things to think about. I want to thank Jory and Morris. I know, Morris, are you there somewhere? Or there you are. Hey, who's that man behind the curtain? You guys did a spectacular job, and you absolutely spoiled us forever. And as I said, it's not going to be like this every week, unfortunately, because that took a lot of time, and the equipment that you guys have and all of that. But we really appreciate it, and they will be back, either on tape or live. Let's see. And anybody have anything they need to share with us? Any announcements? We have Torah study tomorrow morning. On Thursday, we're going to do a second part to the story of the binding of Isaac, because we only got through half of the material here, so people are welcome to join. The week after next, we actually have confirmation service. So we have 6 confirmands. Please join us. One of them is Brian Pearlstein. His grandfather and his mother and father are here. So it's Ben Cruz, Brian Pearlstein, Jacob Quasman, Brooke Whiting, Madison Jaspin, whose grandmother is here, and Victoria Rubin. So please, join us and support them, because just like the kids who are not able to have a graduation, these kids are not able to have a confirmation on the Bima, right? That we're going to do it this way. And it'll be fine. It'll be a nice service, but it won't be the same. And so having a lot of people there to support them, I'm sure will mean a lot to them. I was fortunate enough today to be able to attend Sean Lester Wilson's graduation. And so that was really exciting. He did a demonstration of a project that he worked on with a group of kids. I didn't understand one word, but it was great. He's a computer genius. But it was nice to see members of his family and Ryan and Randy. And so that was great.
Rabbi,
Yeah,
I want to say thank you to you for also for your part in organizing this service. It was really lovely, and I'm sure you did a lot of work on it. And I want to thank you very much. It was
appreciate it.
great.
Thank you, Regina. And by the way, next Friday is Volunteer Appreciation Shabbat, of which many people on this, on the screen are volunteers. So please come so we can thank you for all the work that you do. And there'll be some other people as well. Hopefully they'll join us as well. All right, we will continue with the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ודעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We take a moment now to think of those who are no longer with us. May their memories be for a blessing. Our condolences to Melissa McKeith on the passing of her friend S. David Freeman. To Gail Crow on the passing of her father, Frank Andrews. We're observing Shloshim for Adele Lucas, mother of Lori Lucas, and for Werner Kopel, husband of Suzanne Kopel. Is anyone else here observing Shloshim or the first year of mourning who would like to mention a name?
John Alfirovic.
Do this. Adrian Jacobs.
Robert Stockton.
Philip Newhouse.
Randy Lester Wilson is observing Shiva for Dr. Bob Levy and Elaine Marcus, and first year for Calic Diaz. And we're observing yard sites this Shabbat for Sue Rosenbaum, Robert Shanklin, Abraham Stickoff, Samuel Z. Stein, Sharon Schwartz, Ashley Cardos, Pauline Lowenstein, Samuel Siegel, Mary Roussel, Manny Michelson, Darlene Jones, Murtis Hopkins, Helen Rosenberg, Gertrude Ruth Bauman, Catherine Holland, Isidore Fendel, Deborah Lee Reisner. Is anyone else observing a yard site? All those who have passed during COVID-19. And of course, those who perished during the Holocaust and have no one to say the mourner's Kaddish for them. Please join me in the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah. V'alma divrach tehutei yamlich machutei chayachon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael v'agala u'bizman kariv. Amen. Hey Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam L'Almei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran de'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. U'ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as together we say, Amen.
Amen.
So Morris and Jory chose a song I think appropriate for this time period, which is To Everything Turn, 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 which is from Ecclesiastes, because there's a time to get together in person and a time to get together on Zoom, a time to hug each other and a time to social distance, a time to wear masks and a time to not wear masks. So please join us.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. I will put my bread up to the screen and Oops, it's falling apart. You guys can all touch it if you want. Oops, where's my camera? There it is.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
That's beautiful. So I want to ask if people are interested in doing breakout rooms or not. If you aren't, that's okay. But Jory, can we get a gallery view? There we are. Are people in? If you're interested in a breakout room, can you just like raise your hand? Okay, there are only a couple people, so those people can stay on, and everyone else can go off and have their Shabbat on their own. Good night. But the people who would like to
Thank
stay on,
you.
please.
It was wonderful. Thanks. Good night.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Super, super.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Morris and Jory, you
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you.
outdid yourselves. Truly, truly, truly.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Are they revealing any secrets of how they did this?
Magic.
Maybe
You should
if
never
you
tell
stay.
how their trick